Hey everyone, David Gillespie here with High Shelf Gaming. This week I've been talking with a bunch of people about audio for streams, audio for podcasts, audio for gaming and streaming and all that good stuff. And when I say gaming, I don't mean like me playing Fortnite. I mean Dungeons and Dragons or other role-playing games, how to stream those and how to get decent audio. I apologize about my voice. I've got a cold. It's New Year's and Happy New Year's. And I don't know, the timing of this seems right, so I'm not going to wait for my voice to get any better. I just want to make this video. And apparently that's what I do. I wait for my voice to go out, and then I start making helpful videos. Seems to be a trend of mine. We'll just run with it. So good audio. Here's the thing. You can have the funniest troupe in the world. You could have the coolest game and concepts and the most intricate plots and all of those things. But if your show sounds like garbage, no one's gonna watch because our ears are so sensitive that bad audio immediately turns people off, immediately turns them away from whatever content you're creating. And so I put a lot of effort into my audio, and in this discussion I was on Facebook, the D&D 5th edition group, there was a lot of talk about, how everybody's audio was, and people gave me some accolades and wanted to know how I did it. So I thought, let's just make a video and show how I got good audio. So this might be kind of long, and I'm going to cover a lot of different topics, but this is really my whole process, beginning to end, and how all of this came together. First up is microphones. I know that there's a lot of discussion around microphones, and you may already have your microphone solution selected, at which point, skip forward 5 minutes because I'm going to be talking about microphones for a second. Everyone seems to start in the same place. They go to Amazon and they say, Amazon, give me a USB microphone that I can just plug into my computer. And Amazon delivers them a Yeti or Blue or some other, Cardioid microphone. Cardioid is a low-cost, low voltage microphone. That's the reason why it's in a USB standard very often, is because it can ride on the USB power in order to drive the microphone. Those microphones are fine, but they introduce a ton of background noise. Like right now, my heater is running. My dogs might be making noise in the background. That microphone is going to pick up all of that stuff. This is just how they are. What I recommend, I didn't mean to hit the microphone. What I recommend is a condenser microphone. And I'll link to this in the thing, but here, let me pull over my Amazon real quick. If you're just getting started, sure, you can go spend $100 on a Yeti, and by all means do so. Or you can spend, $30, $40 on a condenser microphone. And this toner microphone comes with a little screen that stops the plosives from hitting the microphone, so all the really hard P's and the sharp S sounds that can be disruptive from some people, depends on how they enunciate their words. You might want to have the little screen there. It comes with this little windsock that prevents just ambient breeze in the room from making that wind tunnel sound of a microphone. So I definitely recommend this. It does make the microphone a little bit quieter, but the additional screen that you can see here, I'll just pull it up. The additional screen here, that's really for a specific type of speaker that uses very hard plosives, and you might need this in front of them or not. It comes with this handy little arm that, gives you what you need. There's another version that comes with the preamp. You probably want the one with the preamp. So I'll link the one with the preamp. The reason for that is these condenser microphones need more voltage. They need more wattage in order to work. And the benefit of them is they have a tighter pickup pattern. This microphone is not picking up everything in the room and everything outside of my room. It's only picking up, 5 feet around me. It has a very small field of pickup. And it works really well for my setup. I'm at a desk and I use this, and I don't mind that there's a microphone in the shot because this whole rig gives me decent audio. And to me, audio is almost more important than video. Step up from this would be, you get two options that I full-heartedly recommend, especially if you're doing in-person gaming. If everybody's in the same room, this might not be the right answer. If everyone's in the same room, you're looking at either shotgun microphones or at lapels. And let's pull up a shotgun real quick. So shotgun microphones, and there's tons of them out there. A lot of them are, or most of them are also condenser mics. They really want a preamp. They are like a flashlight of pickup. So you aim the shotgun mic at, like let's say I had a shotgun mic in here. I wouldn't aim it at my mouth. I would aim it at my chest or at my belly. I would hang it above and I'd aim it at chest or belly. I want the invisible beam of the microphone to go past the person's voice as they're speaking, not into their mouth, because I don't want to hear how their tongue works. I want to hear the words as they're coming out of the mouth. So I want that shotgun microphone to be pointed just past the mouth at their chest or at their belly. Those are nice because you get a super isolated sound. All you get is the person's voice. It cancels out everything else in the room, but it locks your players down to one spot. They have to be right here. They can't shift around. They can't do other things because the pickup pattern is very focused. And that might not work for your crew. The other option, of course, is lapels, where you've got a little lapel mic right there on their clothing that's picking up everything and has a super short, super small pickup range, which is phenomenal. It can be a little pricey, and you have some additional challenges. You know, if you get wireless lapels, they're going to be even more expensive, and you have to worry about batteries. So you might end up taking breaks in the middle of your session in order to swap out batteries. Or they're wired lapels where, again, your talent has to sit there in their chair. They can't get up and move around because they're tethered to this system. And if they want to get up and move around, they have to unclip and undo the thing, and then they can finally go take a bathroom break. So lapels are great. Shotgun mics are great, but they come with their own drawbacks. But at the very least, get yourself a condenser microphone. Avoid the cardioid. Get yourself something with a limited pickup range that will pick up only the area that you care about, not all the other stuff. So that's enough for inputs. That's really what I want to talk about there. Next up, I want to talk about is audio. So is actually your recording. So I use a website called Cast or TryCast. And I'll tell you what, I will toss this little referral code in there because it would be super awesome if you clicked on it and used it. And if you ended up liking the service, I don't know, maybe there's a Scooby that comes back to me, but I'll put it into the video link. TryCast is phenomenal. There's another competing service out there called Zencastr, which is also very good. TryCast is $10 a month and produces an MP3. Zencast is $20 a month and gives you a WAV file. So if you are really gung-ho and you've got the cash to spend, Zencastr is probably the better choice. What is this? What does this service do? All of my games are remote. So all of my talent, they're all at their own homes. They all come to this website. I create a session. Everybody comes here, and this is where the audio recording is achieved. Their machine actually records it locally and then uploads it to TryCast. And the value of that, or Zencastr, the value of this is that I no longer worry about their network connection for audio quality because they're recording locally and it's constantly uploading to the site. If they have a network blip, no worries. They're still going to give me great audio for the video on demand playback or for the podcast that we're creating. I use TryCast all the time for my podcast. All the time. For the stream, I don't, because you see here they do meter on hours. But if you can pick up TryCast or Zencastr, it's a phenomenal solution for remote participant audio. Because one, they do really high bit rate recording, 128-bit sample rates, all that good stuff. And they give you an individual file for every speaker. Like here, I just did a recording on game systems. We're going to be talking about Dungeons and Dragons and then all the other fantasy systems that we are familiar with and why you might branch away from Dungeons and Dragons and what you would get in those different systems. And I, right here, have 3 different audio files. One for myself, one for our guest Heather, and one for Rich. And all three of those is an individual channel that I can edit and say, well, if Rich was going off making a bunch of noise in the background, I can mute him for a minute and still allow Heather and I to have a discussion. And then later on, when I'm ready for his audio to come back in, I just bring his levels back up and he's once again participating. This is all super important for post-editing work. If you can do multi-channel, do it. If you can do multi-channel audio, please do it. Now you might say, David, I am not going to spring for TryCast. I'm not going to spring for Zencastr. Or, David, everybody's in person. We're all in the same room. What do we do? Well, OBS, Open Broadcaster Studio, allows you to do multi-band audio. Here, I'll grab let's see here. Where is my advanced audio? Here we go. We pull over my advanced audio settings here. Just take a look. I can have as many inputs as I like. USB, condenser, cardioid, whatever it is, whatever my mic solution is. I can have a bunch of these in here and up to 6 different tracks. That's a DM and 5 players, each with their own individual mic. And I assign them each to their own track. So, like I could do like my desktop audio here. I have a track for my live stream, and then I have all these additional tracks for the VOD. So I could have like, let's get rid of this one. I could have 2, 3, and 4 as separate audio tracks in the recording that OBS makes. This is really important because it gives me that per audio channel control. Now, there is a question of, well, how do I get that back to normal? How do I extract all these audio channels? Well, that's where something like Handbrake comes into play. With Handbrake, I grab, let's see, let me go grab a recording. With Handbrake, I can pull out the different audio tracks. So let's go and grab, what's my latest recording? I just did one yesterday. Here we go. So I just drag and drop a video file onto this, a recording that I made. And if you go to the audio portion, it allows you to select the different audio tracks. Now, I only record 2 from OBS because I've got Zencastr in the background. Zencastr is my primary, OBS is my backup. But if I didn't have that ability, I would use Handbrake to pull out every audio track from OBS. Handbrake is a free tool. You can go download it. It's phenomenal. Handbrake is super powerful. So I really recommend it for all kinds of applications, but specifically for pulling audio out of a multi-audio track video. Really good at that job. So by all means, go grab Handbrake, use the multi-band audio in OBS, and give each individual user their own mic, record it on OBS, Handbrake to extract. So that gets me the files, right? That gets me the audio from all of my users. The next thing I do is I open Audition. I don't open Premiere or some other video editing program. I use Adobe Audition. You can still get the Adobe Audition started as, I think it was called Media 101, way back in the day when it was like a freemium software, or not even freemium. I think it was like shareware, way back in the day. I think you can still get some copies of Media 101, and it's effectively the same thing as Adobe Audition. But if you can't find it or what have you, Adobe Audition is a phenomenal audio editing tool. And I'm just going to grab those 3 files I just had a second ago. Let's see here. Here we go. Yep, these 3. So I'm gonna open these 3, and here's my. It's gotta sit there and open them. But these 3 audio files is each individual user, right? I could have extracted this from OBS. I could pull it from Zencastr or TryCast. All of these are great ways of getting individual channels. And why do you do individual channels? Because each microphone has its own background noise. Like, you don't believe me? Here, look. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on this audio track right here. Look at this guy. Look at all this noise. This is all noise right here. See how it's light pink down below and it grows up to purple? That's all noise. Every little bit of that is like you can actually see like little rivulets of some sort of background noise. Maybe that's an air conditioner. Maybe that's the refrigerator running in the background. I don't know, but it's annoying. And that's the stuff that people hear. That's the things that people don't like. So what I do is I go to the beginning and I do this thing called room tone, where I ask all of my participants, hey, before we actually get started, let's just take 5 seconds and just be quiet. And when it's quiet, you get these nice blocks where it's super quiet. Now, actually, I think that's a little bit later on. Let's find when we actually did this. I may have to move. 1 second.
Dude, that was so fun.
Do you hear all that background noise? Just the level of his microphone? Here's what I'm going to do to get rid of that. Actually, this might be a better section to get rid of. Well, we'll use this section. In Audition, you just select, click and drag along this point in the timeline. And then I right-click and say Capture Noise Print. Now, I think you can do something similar in Audition, or Audacity. Audacity is another free program that allows you to edit audio. But I really like Audition because of all the filters. So I capture this noise print. And then I go to Effects, Noise Reduction Restoration, and I run the noise reduction process. This references the noise print I just captured of Richard's microphone, and I apply this. And it goes through and analyzes the whole audio track and gets rid of all the background noise. Looks like it still has a minute, so we'll probably cut here, and I'll come back to it once it's done. All right, so looks like it's done. It just completed. Now, if I look at this, see how dark it is now? That all that background noise of the purple and the pink and all that's gone now. What I have now is signal. I've gotten rid of the noise and I've just got signal. So if I listen to this again. Beautiful, right? No background noise. Now, I just go through and do this for all of them. Actually, let's talk a little bit about Heather's setup. This is really interesting. So when Heather connected, it looks like there is some kind of compression going on, because look at the high frequency side of her microphone connection. There's very little signal above the 8,000 hertz side. So the really high tones are just not getting to us. We just didn't get those. So this is another good troubleshooting step is my microphone fully hooked up? Am I connecting at a good speed? Am I getting a full signal? Am I getting all, from low frequency all the way to high frequency? Am I getting the full signal? This specific view where I'm looking at the spectral frequency display, this tells me a lot about how that specific mic or that specific recording went. So I'm going to clean up Heather's real quick, but just because I noticed this black spot, this negative space here, it's worthwhile to mention that this tool gives you some really good view of individual mics and how they're performing, and that might tell you that you have some more work to do to clean up the connection or reset things on how you have everything cabled or what have you, in order to make sure you're getting the full 20 to 20 hertz range. And when I say 20 to 20, I mean 20 hertz all the way up to 20,000 hertz. You want all of that if you can get it. All right, so we're going to run the noise filter on this too. Capture noise print, okay, and I'll run the same effect on this. And you can see even here it caps out and says, hey, there's not a lot of sound above the 8K mark. All right, let's go ahead and apply. I should mention, I forgot to do this. One thing that speeds up processing time on this is if you convert everything to WAV file. And you can do that in Audition. You can just save these as waves. They're a lot bigger of a file because they're not compressed at all. But Audition works a lot faster with WAV files, so that was bad on me. But hey, her stuff is done now, and the signal looks a lot cleaner. And so now we've gotten rid of all the noise, and I'm going to grab all of these and insert them into a multi-track session. I'll just call this YouTube video session. Make it all about you guys. Okay. So if this is for a stream, I'm correcting this audio before I put it into my video recording. So all of this is going to end up in Premiere. I'm not going to edit the timing of anything. I'm not going to get rid of anything. I'll do all that in Premiere. Here, I'm just going to master. I'm just going to clean up the audio and make it right. Okay. So here, like if this was for a podcast, I might start going through and editing things and getting rid of the beginning where we're just chatting and the end where we're really just kind of shooting the breeze, and get rid of any topics or segments I want to get rid of before the podcast goes out. But to really focus this on my game stream or my video playback of the Dungeons and Dragons game, I have my audio here. I want to combine all of this into one file so that I can master the whole thing. I could go through and master each individual one and then apply them all, but I like to combine them at this stage. So file, export, multi-track mixdown, entire session, tube session, and I tell it to open the file after export. So, and we're going to go ahead and do this as a WAV file just so you can see it work a little bit faster. So WAV file, 41 hertz is fine. Some people do 48 hertz, 48,000 hertz. I don't think it matters. Most people can't hear the difference. So 41 is fine. It makes a slightly smaller file. 16-bit is fine. 8-bit is fine. 24-bit is like studio quality. And guys, if you're not rocking studio quality mics and studio quality this and that and the other, and you're not sending this off to a movie theater to be played back in a Dolby Digital surround sound situation, 16-bit is fine. 8-bit is fine. The sample stuff just doesn't matter as much because people watch your stuff at their home on crappy headphones. They listen to your stuff in the car. These things just don't matter as much. So don't worry about breaking the bank on making huge audio files that are, Dolby Digital ready, because nobody's watching your stuff on a Dolby Digital system. All right. So I'm going to hit OK on this. We're going to process this. It's going to take less than a minute. And I'll have a combined file at the end of this, and I will master that combined file before I attach it to my video in Premiere or before I upload the podcast for other people to listen to. And again, this is all my process. You may find that you are more comfortable mastering each individual track before you combine them all. But I like to do this step at this point and then do all my filtering and mastering after that. All right. And you can kind of see how, because I'm using Audition, it's easy to see what's going on. I can look at all my tracks. If I was in Audacity, this is Audacity. Like, it's fine. It totally does the thing. And it even has a noise canceller, like where you can select a thing and tell it to get rid of that noise across the whole track and all that kind of stuff. It's just, I don't know. If you can spring for Audition, do it. It's worth it. It really does so many wonderful things for you. And I'll show you. So I've got my mixdown wave. This is everybody's voice combined into one wave file. And I just do some very basic things right up front. And I may listen to these a little bit, but my most important thing is I want to get a couple of very simple EQs in. So filter and EQ, I get the parametric equalizer, which is a very nice EQ. It allows me this little bar graph. And I just go to the presets and I hit generic high pass and low pass filter. Low pass is really nice because if you have a lot of like really annoying high frequencies, like really high S's, or there's some, really high end frequency that it just is annoying, this low pass filter will get rid of that because the low pass filter takes off the peaks of everything between 10K and 20K. So all that really high volume stuff, this is super important if you have a younger audience. Folks that are in their teens or 20s, they can hear way more of the audio spectrum than someone in their 40s and 50s or 30s even. Like there are totally frequencies in this 10 to 20K band I can't hear anymore. I'm 36. I just can't hear them. But I know that this is annoying for some of my younger audience members, some of the high school kids that watch our stuff. I know some of the tones they can hear and it's annoying to them. So I just run a generic low pass filter, right? And then I go ahead and drop in another parametric equalizer and do a generic high pass filter, which gets rid of some of the low stuff, right? So I run both of these. Let's listen to this real quick.
Completely fortified, charged up, and ready because, obviously New Year's Eve, Dave, you got to be like a pro.
All right. So let's turn those off real quick. Let's go back and listen to this. Rich Wisniewski.
I am completely fortified, charged up, and ready. But
all right. So these have really improved, and it might be subtle, but it really improves and gets rid of some of those annoying tones that just sets people off and really makes them feel uncomfortable when they listen to your stuff. So I do both. I do a high pass and a low pass. All right. This is my ideal setup where I've got high pass and low pass, and I've got a hard limiter that keeps my talent from peaking. So I do all those things. Rich Wisniewski.
I am completely fortified, charged up, and ready because, obviously New Year's Eve, Dave.
All right. Much cleaner, doesn't peak, and it got rid of all those annoying tones that can come when just people, the way they carry their S's or the way they, rock out the plosives. It really cleans a lot of that stuff up. So I apply this. It's going to go through and apply this. It's going to take a lot shorter now because I'm working with a WAV file, which awesome. And then the last thing I do is match volume. Okay. Now this I think is only in Audition and some of the higher end audio programs. I don't think Audacity does this. And this is one of those things that really takes your audio from I've cleaned it up and I've gotten rid of some of the annoying tones. I've gotten rid of the annoying background. And now I'm going to normalize the audio to a degree that is basically radio broadcast ready. And it's what you're really looking for is this LUFS -16 loudness setting. This is really what you need. So I take my WAV file and I just drag it down to the match volume filter here. And I think you get that through, go to your window and turn on match volume. And that makes this thing pop up. So I drag this down here and I don't change any of the default settings. You could go and muck around with the look ahead time and the release time. If you're really into audio nerdery, these are your dials. These are good. But the LUFS -16, that's the radio broadcast ready. That's the volume is going to stay pretty much normalized throughout the whole thing. And that way your audience doesn't have to like turn the dial up and down depending on who's speaking. So let's run this. This one's going to take time. It analyzes the whole thing. It runs processes on the whole thing. So this is going to take it, 5 minutes to do, an hour and 15 minutes worth of audio. If you're working with a 4-hour-long session recording, awesome. This is going to take a lot of time, right? This step is going to just take processing time. But it's worth it because it cleans up all the audio and really makes it so that it's consistent beginning to end and really makes it much more pleasant for your audience to listen to your stuff. And that's really the point of this, right? I'm just going to keep talking while it processes. Garbage in creates garbage out. So you need good microphones, and you need people who are enunciating and are speaking clearly. And then you need to go through and filter out the noise by doing either an adaptive noise filter, which just kind of guesstimates as it goes, or does the noise reduction process like what I was showing you. And then you need to run a couple of lightweight filters. I love the high pass and low pass filters. Very basic, but it cleans up a lot of the noise that people don't like, or it makes it so individuals' voices are slightly different than natural, but is more pleasant to hear. And then the last thing that's the most important is this match volume business, where you get it normalized throughout the whole thing. So let's select all this and let's just listen. Gaming. This week, my voice is a little far gone because of New Year's Eve, which was awesome. But as always, I am joined by the fortified Rich Wisniewski.
I am completely fortified, charged up, and ready because, obviously New Year's Eve, Dave, you got to be like a pro.
And that's it. Rich's mic is a little bit louder than mine because he carries his a little bit closer to his face than I do. But we are relatively close in volume such that it's not annoying for the audience to listen to or watch this stream or what have you. All of this is cleaned up. I'm now ready to move this back into Premiere where I match it with the video before I upload it to YouTube or Twitch or Facebook or wherever you put your videos. I hope this process rundown has been helpful. It's something I've put a lot of time and research into and put a lot of effort into it. So if this makes your stream and your product better for your audience, phenomenal. Awesome. Give a shout out to me every so often and I'll super appreciate it. So everyone who's been watching, again, thanks a ton for kind of sticking it out and watching this little tutorial with me. As always, have fun and play well.